I'm aware of all of those things, but I know he don't want to be in here, so I know if he could afford it, he'd be out.
It's been barely 6 days since Yella Beezy got checked into Dallas County Jail over allegations he ordered the hit on MO'3, and word on the street is he ain't built for this life. Sources say Beezy's already struggling behind bars, pushing hard for bail like his life depends on it. And real talk, if you know anything about the reputation of Dallas County Jail, you'd understand exactly why he's desperate to get out.
I mean, this is the last stop of the jail for all the worst of the worst.
They didn't earn the title of worst jail in Texas for no reason. Yella Beezy's arrest on capital murder charges has rocked the rap game, leaving fans and the industry stunned. Since being checked into Dallas County Jail, word is he's been struggling heavy. Life behind those walls is rough, no sugarcoating it, and for Beezy, who's used to fast cars, designer fits, and VIP sections, this is a whole different world. Overcrowding is out of control. Cells built for 8 are now crammed with up to 40 inmates. It's more than just uncomfortable, it's a full-on crisis. Officials keep scrambling for solutions, but nothing sticks. Security comes first, comfort doesn't even make the list. Inside, the air is freezing cold like they crank the AC just to see who can handle it. The noise bounces off concrete walls so bad that inmates literally stuff toilet paper in their ears just to sleep. Privacy doesn't exist here. The Special Response Teams, SRTS, run the jail like a military zone. Their inspections are straight up humiliating. Inmates kneel in their boxers while guards rip through their stuff. The message is clear, this isn't about dignity, it's about control. And it's not new. For the last 5 years, Dallas County Jail has been failing state inspections left and right. The Texas Commission on Jail Standards keeps flagging major problems, but nothing changes. In February 2022, inspectors spent 4 days inside, and what they found was wild. One of the biggest issues was how they handled suicidal inmates. On paper, it looked like officers were checking on them regularly, but when inspectors reviewed the surveillance footage, the logs didn't match the truth. That's a serious safety red flag, and it gets worse. Around 40 housing unit doors were completely busted, and some had been that way for a while. Inspectors even caught inmates using contraband to jam doors, basically disabling them. That's a huge security risk, and they've just been letting it slide. Then there's the stench. In the North Tower, staff said it was from inmates smoking K2, synthetic weed, and burning coffee grounds to cover the smell. Whatever it is, it just adds to the chaos.
Yeah, we have a lot of guys, they still, do dope, they run the dope houses from inside the jails, a lot of kingpins, so it is an important item inside the jail.
Whatever the reason, it meant people inside were breathing in toxic smoke on a regular basis. Strangely, inspectors didn't suggest any immediate action, so inmates and staff were just left to inhale who knows what. Hygiene standards weren't looking good either.
I mean, a lot of people in here keep it real nasty. They don't really clean as often. They don't care. I mean, this is the last stop of the jail for all the worst of the worst.
In the West Tower, laundry workers weren't swapping out clothes and linens for inmates in crisis care. Instead, floor officers had to step in a clear sign that things aren't running the way they should. And let's not forget the South Tower's generators. Back in March and April 2021, they were supposed to go through regular testing. That never happened. If the power ever cuts out, there's no guarantee the backup will even kick in. That's a disaster just waiting to happen. The overcrowding problem keeps getting worse. Ongoing renovations mean fewer available beds, and the county is now looking into temporary setups just to keep up. Add in constant AC system failures, and the place starts feeling less like a jail and more like straight-up survival mode. Then there's the legal system, which is a mess all on its own. Inmates trying to defend themselves can barely access the law library. Legal mail, which is supposed to be private, gets opened without them even being there. Motions take forever to get processed. It's like the system is built to keep them stuck. And aside from the disaster that is Dallas County Jail, word on the street is that Yella Beezy might be too broke to even bond himself out. At first, his bond was set at $2 million, a price tag that showed just how serious the charges were. In court, Beezy's grandmother, Alma Jean Alexander, took the stand and, in a powerful moment, flipped the script on prosecutors. She insisted that Beezy wasn't nearly as rich as they claimed he was.
And he has houses in other states, correct?
I'm not aware of that.
Are you aware of him paying and helping to support other individuals in the family and also extended family and friends?
I'm not into his business like that.
Unwavering testimony from Beezy's grandmother, combined with statements from other family members, forced the judge to take a second look. Ultimately, Judge Gracie Lewis ruled in Beezy's favor, cutting the bond down to $750,000, but not without strict conditions. He was banned from contacting any victims or witnesses, and was given a stern warning about taking the financial disclosure process seriously.
You agree with me that your grandson is substantially well off, correct?
He might used to be, but If he could make a $2 million bond, he'd be out.
Would you agree with me, though, that there's a difference between can, want to, and choosing not to?
I'm aware of all of those things, but I know he don't want to be in here, so I know if he could afford it, he'd be out.
Prosecutors painted a damning picture of Beezy's finances, suggesting he had the means to flee the state or even the country if necessary. They pointed to his bulletproof Denali as a symbol of wealth and status, along with records showing nearly $870,000 in his bank accounts back in 2020. To them, this was proof that he had both the motive and the resources to orchestrate and fund a serious crime. Capital murder isn't just another charge, it's one of the heaviest on the books, and in Texas, they don't play. If convicted, Beezy could be facing either life in prison without parole or, depending on how the trial unfolds, even the death penalty. The law is crystal clear. Capital murder applies in cases involving the killing of a police officer, firefighter, child under 10, or if the murder happens during another felony like robbery, kidnapping, or retaliation. In Beezy's case, prosecutors claim he financed a hit on fellow rapper MO'3, qualifying it as a murder-for-hire plot, one of the most serious forms of capital crime. To show how intense these charges can get, look at what happened with Lil Durk. In a completely different but eerily similar case, Durk, real name Devontae Banks, was arrested in South Florida by the U.S. Marshals. His arrest stemmed from a federal criminal complaint in California, accusing him of planning a murder for hire. It all goes back to a long-standing feud with someone named TB. The situation escalated after Durk's close friend King Von, real name Devin Bennett, was shot and killed outside an Atlanta nightclub on November 6, 2020. Vaughn was part of Durk's OTF, Only the Family Collective. Word on the street is that Durk allegedly placed a bounty on TB's head in retaliation for Vaughn's death. Fast forward nearly 2 years. On August 19, 2022, members of Durk's crew reportedly tracked TB to a gas station in Los Angeles. That's where they opened fire, unleashing at least 18 rounds. But it didn't end there. A family member of TB was fatally shot in the crossfire, right in broad daylight. It happened in a busy intersection, putting innocent lives at risk. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada called it a cold-blooded act that showed zero regard for human life. Durk and 5 others are now facing charges including murder, murder for hire, and conspiracy to commit murder for hire resulting in death. Prosecutors claim the hitmen were paid with money linked directly to Durk's operation. Allegedly, 5 individuals were flown out from Chicago to LA just before the shooting. Even more chilling, Durk reportedly had one of his people book one-way flights for the shooters using fake names to avoid detection. In the aftermath, law enforcement executed search warrants on multiple linked properties, uncovering the calculated nature of the entire plan. Durk's first court appearance was held at the C. Clyde Atkins U.S. Courthouse in Miami. His lawyer, Alec Ubiata, refused to comment publicly. With his arraignment scheduled for federal court in Los Angeles, the stakes are sky high. If convicted, Durk is staring down a possible life sentence, and that's not even the whole story. In December 2024, during a detention hearing, newly unsealed court documents linked Durk to a second murder-for-hire plot, this time tied to the January 2022 shooting of Stefan Mack in Chicago. Durk is now set to stand trial in October 2025 and has been denied bail. Now, coming back to Beezy, it's wild to think MO'3 was murdered back in 2020, and only now, nearly 5 years later, is Beezy being linked to the crime. Beezy and MO'3 were known to have beef for years, so the sudden timing raises questions. Did someone finally snitch? Did new evidence emerge? Or is this the result of ongoing federal pressure? Let's take it back to that tragic day in November 2020. Rapper MO'3, real name Melvin Noble, was ambushed on Interstate 35 in Dallas. That morning, he noticed a vehicle tailing him. When things got too tense, MO'3 pulled over and ran for his life across the busy highway. What followed was shocking. The suspect chased him down in broad daylight, opening fire in front of stunned drivers and witnesses. MO'3 was hit multiple times and collapsed, fatally wounded. The nature of the attack, a daylight execution in traffic, stunned the city. Theories flew. Some thought it was tied to MO'3's street beefs. Others suspected a targeted hit fueled by jealousy or gang rivalry. The Dallas Police Department jumped into action, releasing images of the masked suspect. These images helped lead them to 22-year-old Kewan Dontrell White, a man with a criminal record who is already out on bond for gun and evasion charges. As the case unfolded, evidence began stacking up. Surveillance footage and witness statements placed White at the scene. Investigators officers say MO'3 was chased down by White, who then opened fire as MO'3 tried to escape. The shots also wounded a bystander, showing just how reckless the hit was. After the shooting, Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall asked the FBI to step in and help with the growing wave of violence in the city. On December 9, 2020, Q and White was arrested and charged with murder and possession of a firearm by a felon. When police finally caught him, he was trying to flee on a dirt bike in Oak Cliff before running on foot. Officers found a loaded 9mm pistol on him at the time. But here's where it gets more complicated. From prison, Q-On White started speaking out. In an interview, he claimed he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger on MO'3.
But wait a minute, but people think you the person that killed MO'3, man. They think you did it.
For the past few days, the street's been buzzing about MO'3's death and Yella Beezy's arrest for allegedly setting up the hit. That's what everybody's been talking about. But what most folks don't know or barely mention is the man accused of actually pulling the trigger, Kuwan Dantrell White. White was the first to be charged in MO'3's murder, but while waiting on trial, he ended up getting a 9-year sentence in a federal gun case. And just when you'd think he'd stay quiet behind bars, he shows up in a jailhouse interview and drops a bombshell that got everybody talking all over again. That line hit different. He said it calm, no hesitation, no doubt. He made it clear, he ain't the one who did it, they got the wrong man. Now folks started wondering, was he set up? Was it a case of mistaken identity? But White didn't stop there, he doubled down.
People think you the person that killed MO'3, man. They think you did it.
He didn't hold back. He broke down the whole case on camera. Then the internet did what it always does. One person left a comment that summed it all up. Imagine being this man's attorney and he's doing interviews from his jail cell for a podcast. But let's not forget this man didn't just end up in prison by accident. The feds came down on him hard. Kuwan Dantrell White was sentenced to 105 months in federal prison, just under 9 years, but not for MO'3's murder. That sentence was for being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. The news came directly from U.S. Attorney Chad E. Meacham of the Northern District of Texas. White had pleaded guilty back in May to carrying a 9mm semi-automatic pistol. And this wasn't some setup. The cops literally found the gun in his pants pocket. Here's how it all went down. On August 16, 2020, officers spotted White riding a dirt bike down West Pleasant Run Road in Lancaster, Texas. He broke a traffic rule, so they lit him up sirens, lights, everything told him to stop. But White didn't stop. He hit the gas and took off. Cops chased him down. He crashed the bike, then tried to run. They caught him shortly after, and that's when they found the gun. So now, White is doing time for that federal charge, while the murder case for MO'3 is still hanging over his head. But again, this ain't someone who just happened to end up in prison. The feds hit him with a real case. On one hand, you've got Kuwan White speaking from behind bars, swearing up and down he didn't kill MO'3. On the other hand, Yella Beezy, dead silent. Let's rewind. Beezy, real name Marquise DeAndre Conway, got arrested on March 20th, 2025. Surveillance caught him in cuffs, walking like he's done this before. No blinking, no emotion, calm as ever while police escorted him through the station. When that footage hit the internet, it went viral. Everybody was waiting on Beezy to say something. Instead, his lawyer, Toby Shook, gave TMZ a statement that sounded like straight-up PR. After he secured bond, he feels relieved to be released. That's all. No mention of MO'3, no denial, just relieved. But here's what really set the internet on fire. Beezy wasn't just some guy with an open case. He had already been indicted by a Dallas County grand jury just 2 days before the arrest on March 18th. The charge? Capital murder for remuneration. That's legal talk for saying the state believes Beezy paid to have MO'3 killed. Not a fight, not a heat-of-the-moment move. A planned hit. Then came the bond hearing. The state slapped him with a $2 million bond. Heavy. His legal team said he couldn't afford it. That's when his family stepped in. His grandmother, Alma Jean Alexander, took the mic and she came ready. She didn't flinch. They pressed her even harder, trying to find out if B was just holding back on the money if he really couldn't pay, or just wouldn't. That line made people stop and think it even got the court's attention. But the prosecutors weren't buying the whole broke story. They came with receipts, literally. That came straight from prosecutor Tommy Adams. He told the court a witness was ready to testify that Beezy helped pay for the murder, that the $4,000 wasn't some random withdrawal, but part of the setup. Beezy's defense team clapped back fast. They said the state didn't have anything solid, no texts, no Instagram DMs, no bank slips proving any kind of payout, just one person claiming they overheard something. You've heard no information of a text message, any communication on a social media platform that our client paid for this murder, any kind of remuneration, just this individual who stepped forward and said he overheard this conversation, the defense argued. Even with all the back and forth, the judge made a move that caught everyone off guard. Judge Gracie Lewis dropped Beezy's bond to $750,000. But she didn't do it quietly. She called Beezy out for how he filled out his financial disclosure, saying he didn't take it seriously. The financial report that the defendant was required to file, he didn't seem to take that very seriously at all, she said. And that's what I'm worried about, whether or not he's taking seriously the charges against him. Then, Judge Lewis issued a clear warning. No threats, no games, no funny business.
You are to have no contact, direct or indirect, no threatening or harassment of any victim, witness, co-defendant. If it's you or anybody on your behalf, there's going to be a problem. Do you understand that?
So yeah, Bai walked out on bond, but that courtroom moment wasn't really about freedom. It was a warning shot and a loud one. Online, people broke it down quick. He a rapper? $40,000 could be for anything, some said. Others pointed out the case seemed to lean heavily on a snitch, who may or may not even be the shooter. Then came the reactions to the bond itself, dropping from $2 million to $750,000 in just about a week. That was wild. People weren't shocked he got out. They were impressed with how fast it happened. This man ain't worried at all, and he definitely ain't broke, one person posted. He's really from the cliff. Because if you're riding in a bulletproof truck, got six-figure bank accounts, and can pull $140,000 at any moment, claiming you can't post bond feels fake to a lot of folks. He better get out the country, some even joked. Then the internet did what it always does, started comparing. Side-by-side takes started popping up. Tory couldn't get bond for a case where nobody died. Wild. He gets bond, but he doesn't? Ain't adding up. People weren't just watching, they were weighing it. Some saw privilege, others saw power. But then came a courtroom detail that didn't get as much attention, but meant everything. The judge actually said one of the reasons she lowered B's bond was the lack of strong evidence so far. No solid paper trail, no digital links, just one shaky witness and a lot of questions. She made it clear, don't intimidate anyone connected to this case. That part flew under the radar, but it said a lot. Basically, the judge was saying, the state's case isn't locked in yet. That's why B walked. And then came the tweet that stopped everybody mid-scroll. Big U paid it for him. It might have been a joke, but it hit different because Big U's name always gets attention. He's known for helping rappers not just with music, but with legal problems too. He's been moving behind the scenes for years. If BA needed someone to quietly drop $750,000, Big U would definitely be on that shortlist. He respects street code, and BI is from Oak Cliff. If people are staying quiet to protect bigger names, then that bond money might not just be about freedom, it might be about silence.